Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautostore.com, and we're standing beside or in front of one of our ground up restorations that we're working on here at our spa. This is a 1987 Chev 1500 two-wheel drive pickup truck. So this is an ongoing project, and we've got the body panels in the cab and so on are in the other end of the shop in the bodywork division. And here in the mechanical reassembly side, I just wanted to kind of share with you an update, because the last time you saw the progress on this Chev 1500 truck, we had the frame on a rotisserie. We media blasted the whole frame and then we painted it, but now we've gone so much further. So here's basically an update in terms of what we've done. You saw a short little video before we assembled the wheels. Our client has chosen this really nice red that you see on the wheels. So it's a candy apple red, and it's going to be quite a nice, so it's going to complement the truck, which will be painted the same color. Typically these rally wheels, as you know, would be painted silver, or GM would call it an argent silver, but our client wants to have the contrast in color to match the truck. So now we have the center caps polished, the outer rings polished, the tires are reinstalled and balanced obviously, and then as you come over to the front, you can see the engine, which we're still going to be doing a little bit of work on, but we basically disassembled the engine, we checked the bearing tolerances and so on, and then we replaced the water pump. You can see in here we've done quite a bit. So we've got the engine mounts are all sandblasted and repainted. We changed the frost plugs. This water pump is brand new, and we did all the hardware separately. Some nice touches that I think the camera can pick it up here. We don't like to paint over the brass fittings. Same thing here. You've got a temperature sensor in the intake, and that's a new sensor, and we like to paint things, as you notice. We like to do it all individually. It's a little more work, but it's a nice attention to detail. So behind this brand new water pump, you can see the timing cover, and then we've got all the clean hardware there, and you'll see the nice blue gasket in between the engine block and the timing cover. So we replaced all the seals and all the gaskets. The engine block and heads were all disassembled and cleaned, new head gaskets and valve cover gaskets and so on, and then the engine has all been painted the correct black. Right now it's a little bit on the boring side in terms of appearance, but it's basically more of a stock looking build. So on the intake, this is the original intake that we've also cleaned up and degreased, and we've painted it the correct color. You'll notice the valve covers now, they were quite rusty before. See how dusty it is here in the shop. So these were sandblasted and cleaned, primed, and this paint is just the two-part epoxy to protect the steel. The next step, what we're going to do is we're going to lightly sand these and apply a high build primer, and we're going to paint these valve covers the same color as the truck and the wheels. So it's going to be that really nice candy apple red, which will be a nice contrast against the kind of the boring black, but it's a very clean look. You'll notice along in terms of the frame, we went ahead and we've done all new suspension and braking components. So our upper control arm here, it's all been disassembled, sandblasted and repainted. And then we have the correct number of shims in the front, which we'll send for an alignment later, but these were the same number of shims that the truck had when it came here to Last Chance. All of the control arm bushings have been replaced. Upper and lower ball joints have been done. We have new flex line. We've got new sleeves. We have new inner and outer tie rod ends. I think you can see probably from this end, we've got rebuilt brake calipers and brand new rotors and brand new backing plates for the brakes themselves. You'll notice the back of the tire, they're almost brand new Bridgestone white letters, but our client wanted the white lettering in as opposed to facing out. You'll see the frame looks quite nice. It's quite dusty right now, but this is a really nice black finish. And then we've taken the power steering box and we've cleaned it up and degreased it and painted it. And then you'll notice we have the brake lines. We've started to run the brake lines, nickel copper lifetime warranty for this tubing as opposed to the old mild steel with the green coating on it. We decided to go with the nice lifetime warranty type brake lines, and then you'll also notice we have new brake flex lines in the front and so on. So as we come down the side, I'll just kind of get out of the way of the camera. So as you come down here, you'll see in terms of the engine, our client wants to have a nice sounding engine. In a previous video that we did on a 67 Chev truck, we have our own exhaust bender, and we do custom exhaust here also at Last Chance, and he wants a dual exhaust system with a better sound. He's a fan of Harley Davidson motorcycles and has a couple, and he had mentioned it'd be really nice if this truck had a little bit of a nicer sound than the quiet stock. So what we were able to do is we located a set of headers that are made specifically for this engine. And something that's really important, I think the camera can pick it up, is on the opposite side of that header is the sensor. So you can see most of the cheaper headers that you buy for this 87 small block Chev, it would not have the bung welded in, and it would not be using a sensor with anti-pollution and so on. But something that's important for us when we rebuild these vehicles is we want to make sure it's done correctly. So we have the new sensor plugged in, and it's a nice header system. And then you'll notice here we have stainless hardware for the headers. These are a very good quality header. You can see the difference in terms of the thickness of the metal. So there's less warpage. It's about double the thickness of a normal header. And then in behind, where I've got my little screwdriver here, you can see almost the same thickness. That's an upgraded manifold gasket that goes between the header, and these are made specifically for this purpose, for header system, but a much better upgraded quality. And then in the back you see the transmission. So this is a 700R4 transmission, and we when we separated it from the engine, we drained all the fluids and we replaced the seals. So there's a seal in the front. The oil fluid and gasket and filter and so on were changed, and very common there was some seepage in the back seal here, which we replaced. So all of the seals and gaskets and so on have all been replaced. The transmission has been degreased and cleaned, and then you can see the detail once again. As opposed to spraying everything at one time, you'll notice the detail. So we have our kick-down cable that bolts in here. You can see all your brass fittings for the transmission cooler lines. They've all been cleaned, degreased, and reset in after it was painted, along with the transmission tube with the new seal. And then you can see along here the cork looking gasket. So once again, painting everything separately and replacing with factory correct looking gaskets. So a very attractive, very clean, stock original looking engine, transmission, frame, and also suspension. You'll see, as I mentioned earlier, quite a bit of dust on the frame, but once and you can even see the serial number in the frame. So as this continues, we'll share with you more of the build, but this is a really nice, clean build, going to look factory correct other than a couple of little tweaks and enhancements here and there. When you just look from this side, if the camera can swing around, you'll notice you've got new coil springs, you can see the calipers, and you can see the brand new shocks and so on. So basically this whole frame, suspension, steering is as new in terms of condition, and then you can see obviously how clean everything looks in terms of the frame and so on. So just wanted to share with you basically an update on that. And before I forget, we have new hardware, new springs. We had 2 leaf springs that were broken. They were the original springs, so they've been replaced. And then we have new shackle bolts and rear shackles here, sorry, with the correct hardware, and then the new U-bolts. So everything is coming along very nicely. So now that the truck is on 4 wheels, our focus is going to now go on to the body, which we'll share in an upcoming video. So we have the cab on a separate dolly, and we've been working on that. So I just want to touch base. 1987 Chev 1500 truck. Thanks for watching, and I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.